by shootings in our city. And I would like for us to take a moment of silence to just acknowledge all of the people we have lost to gun violence, whether it's this year in 2022 or whether it was 20 years ago. Just take about 30 seconds to have a moment of silence to lift up the families that have been grieving and the spirits of those we have lost in the streets of D.C. to gun violence. Thank you so much. I just want to share a little bit about who I am so the folks who don't know me can get to know me a little bit this morning. Again, I'm the Executive Director of Peaceful DC, and I have also been acting as the Director of Learning for the DC Peace Academy. So I have had an opportunity to learn alongside the students for the past 3 months as we heard from local experts who have been working in community violence intervention for decades. We've learned from Dr. Purnell, we've learned from Dr. Neverson, we've learned from Maurice Majid, Dr. Mitchell. Dana just came over this week to talk to us about the work that's taking place at the WAN's office. Dion came out and gave a lecture on the importance of collaborating versus competing with one another. And we have had the opportunity to learn cognitive behavior theory skills. And basically that skill is what our frontline peacemakers will be able to use to help the high-risk individuals in the neighborhoods that they serve consider the transformation process and learn how to regulate their emotions and make better decisions when they are in crisis or facing a conflict. We have learned healthy masculinity skills. We've had the opportunity to learn Stop the Bleed, and each one of our students have received a Stop the Bleed kit where they have the opportunity to potentially save themselves or someone else in the neighborhoods that they serve if they are bleeding out from a gunshot wound. They actually learn how to use the tourniquet and how to stuff gauze into a wound of someone who is potentially bleeding out. And as unfortunate as it is to need these life-saving skills, we are so grateful to the staff at MedStar for coming out to teach us these skills. I grew up in Ward 8, born and raised in D.C. I had the opportunity to serve at the Mayor's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs back in 2013. I also worked at the Corrections Information Council, and I went on to work at the D.C. Office of the Attorney General, where I helped to start the Cure the Streets program. I ended up transitioning out of government because, just to be totally transparent, I thought that we as a city could do more to support our frontline peacemakers in the gigantic mission that they have to interrupt violence and detect conflicts and mediate conflicts and support those at risk of engaging or being impacted by gun violence. And so by moving into the private sector and working with Rachel and Roger through Peaceful DC, I feel like I have a greater opportunity to fulfill what I believe my purpose is at this moment in my life, which is to serve the frontline workers, to make sure that they have the training and the resources that they need to treat their personal trauma, their vicarious trauma, and also help the communities that they serve to transform and become what we know that they can be in our great city. I want to give a very special honor to Rachel, who is behind the scenes helping to make all this happen, to Roger, who folks know lost his son to gun violence in 2018. And I think it's safe to say he was shocked to learn about how many other parents throughout our city have lost their children to gun violence. And he decided to do something to help make a difference. And so Peaceful DC is committed to not only supporting our frontline peacemakers with training, but we also want to raise funds to get additional resources to layer on top of the work that they're currently doing in neighborhoods. We understand that although our mayor, we're so grateful and we're so honored and appreciative of her investments in gun violence intervention, we understand that government cannot do it alone. Government has never ever solved any crisis alone. And so it will take a collective effort. We believe that the power should be in the hands of the people on the front lines who have the credibility and relationships in the neighborhoods who can prevent the shootings before they happen. I want to give a special honor to Dr. Brown, who is here with us today, who has been a mentor and a thought partner for me before I even started with the Cure the Streets program. And I want to honor all of our colleagues from Cure the Streets who came out to support the students, and everybody from the One's office. And again, thank you so much to our Mayor Muriel Bowser for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us this morning. And at this time, I will call on our speaker, our student who will deliver the keynote for us today, Antoine Garland. Antoine has been with the Cure the Streets program since it began in 2018, started out as a VI, went on to become an outreach worker, and is now the program manager for the Trinidad site. In addition to being one of the first students to complete the DC Peace Academy, in the past he also completed a program management training with UDC. He also completed a restorative justice training. And I'm just so proud of you for always being so teachable, always being there for your colleagues, and pouring into us and giving us the opportunity to learn from you, and for always being serious about educating yourself to become a better public servant. Antoine, you have the mic.
Good morning, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out to our first graduation for the DC Peace Academy. My name is Antoine Garland, and I'm the program manager for Not Cure the Streets, a pilot program under the Office of Attorney General working in the Ward 5 Trinidad and HCFN community. I was born in Washington, D.C., raised in Trinidad in the Irish City community. Growing up in a community that was plagued by violence, I became accustomed to what was happening in my community, not knowing the effects of trauma. It can happen when you at a very young age. I idolized a lot of the older guys in the community from the things that they did with the cars, the jewelry, and the clothes, and the things they did to give back to my community. So I said to myself, I want to be like them. So I began selling drugs at the age of 13, not knowing what I was doing or what the consequences might be for my actions. So my mom worked very hard. My mom worked very hard to take care of my brother and myself, but I wanted to be grown early. When my mom found out I was selling drugs, she was heartbroken, sat me down and had a long talk with me before giving me an ultimatum. Either you're going to be with the streets or your family. I chose the streets. That was one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I've been in and out of the prison system on multiple occasions, but there were only two genuine proud mommy moments my mom had for me is when I graduated from Spingarn State High School in '97, and in 2015 when I had my son and left the streets alone. So that's when my life changed, and I was ready to transition myself to become a better role model to my kids. One of my colleagues came to me before the program was launched and asked that I wanted to do violent intervention work in my community. And I said to him, do I have to wear the orange hats like I used to do back in the day and be with the police? And he said, no. I said, okay then. So one day he called me and said, come have your interview. So I said, send me the address. I get there, and it's a police station. I sat in my car and said, Ashton Kutcher, come on out. I've been punked. So, so I went in nervous, not knowing what to expect. And it turned out to be the best decision of my life. I started out as a violence interrupter when the program was first launched in 2018 during the spike of violence that was happening in our city. When I began to do this work alongside with my friends, I was confident that we could change the norm in our community. Working with Cure the Streets has provided me the opportunity to connect with the right people and to receive the resource to help with the residents of my community. I knew that meeting new people would help me continue to strive and improving my personal life and make a difference in the lives of others. As a VI, I maintained a good work ethic and took the initiative to get things done. And in 2019, I was offered another position within the organization as an outreach worker. As an outreach worker, I was able to identify 15 high-risk individuals for the community and put them on my caseload with the approval of my supervisor. I worked with them day to day, seeing what their needs were and assisted them with navigating resources. During the pandemic, I was able to educate myself more on violence intervention work, and now I'm the program manager for Now Cure the Streets. My time attending the DC Peace Academy was phenomenal because I was able to learn more about things I thought I knew. The 13-week training gave me a better insight on how to do certain things the proper way. It's two things that really stood out to me that I know will be very helpful while working in these communities. I learned cognitive behavior therapy, which is life skills, and how to do proper mediations. Because y'all know doing mediations, you got to do it the proper way, or sometimes it might go sideways. One of my career goals is to work in restorative justice and help create a curriculum, Life After Restorative Justice. I strongly suggest that any organization that is doing violence prevention work in our city should have their violence interrupters attend the DC Peace Academy. I would like to thank LaShawna Thompson-Ill, Rachel Uzdan, Dr. Maurice Majid, Dr. Missou, Professor Travis Ellis, Dr. Brown, and Ms. Wyman and Wally, and all other teachers and coaches. LaShawna, you are the glue and the fire that helped our class make it through these last 13 weeks. I cannot thank you enough. And to my classmates, I am so grateful for this opportunity to get to know each and one of you. We shared a lot of personal stories, opened up to each other about our childhood trauma, and strengthened our skills. And we also built connections with each other. And we're going to utilize those relationships we built in class to collaborate more on our jobs. I'm excited to see how we'll be able to use this training we learned in class to improve outcomes in our communities. I have the great honor of introducing our next speaker, who has made historic investments in violence intervention work in D.C. and appointed D.C.'s first director of gun violence prevention, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am really delighted to be here for the Peace Academy's graduation. I always like being at graduations because it really represents a celebration of people who have kept a promise to themselves. They have said that I'm going to take this time out, I'm going to give it my all, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow. In some cases, I'm going to sacrifice. In other cases, I'm going to change. And then their family and friends who have made that journey with them, those sacrifices, are celebrating too. So let me first start by saying, on behalf of 700,000 Washingtonians, congratulations to the graduates. Give them a big round of applause. I want to acknowledge, as you heard Antoine say, the Peace for DC Fund, the Greater Washington Community Foundation, for launching this Peace Academy, for recognizing that we have asked people to do really tough things, a really tough job. And we can't expect them to do those really tough things and tough jobs without the proper training. And so it is, when you're making over $50 million investments in initiatives and activities, important to also carve out a portion of those investments to make sure people are being properly supported. So over 300 people are part of this army in DC to end gun violence through community violence intervention. We call them a number of things, including credible messengers, violence interrupters, roving leaders, outreach workers. Some work for the government, some work for nonprofits, but all are working to save lives in DC. We know that there will be tough days. Even when we're most successful, there are going to be tough days. I had a deputy mayor, a gun violence prevention director, all and others tell me in various ways how tough yesterday was. Despite our toughest and our hardest work, there will be people who will be lost. But we know that our job and why we do this every day is because we love our city, right? We love the people in our city. There's nothing that I do, whether it's for schools or attracting jobs or creating rec centers or having housing programs, that's not for the people of Washington, D.C. And so if we do everything perfectly in our city and native Washingtonians don't benefit, then we haven't done our job. But part of that is we have to be here. And we have to make sure that all of our programs and services are focused on dealing with some things that none of us had anything to do with. Generational poverty, systemic racism, trauma that has been passed down from one generation to the next, all affecting our decisions, all affecting our opportunities. So I take it as my privilege and responsibility to make sure that we use the $20 billion that we have in DC government last year, probably more next year, to make sure we're equalizing those opportunities, but also dealing with the things that haven't been fair to us for generation after generation. Part of that work is to invest in community violence interruption, to understand it, and to make it effective. I don't think that we can say we know everything about getting it exactly right, but I can say that we're working to know everything to get it exactly right. One thing that I know is we need good people. You know some good people who want to keep our community safe? Because we need good people. We need to properly resource them, train them, and give them the strategies to help keep communities safe. We need to make sure that we have a city that is fair and that we better equalize opportunity across all people in all 8 wards, no matter what their backgrounds are, so that they can make their own way in Washington, D.C. We need to be innovative. We need to try new things, even if they're out of the box, even if no one else is doing them. Like this past week, we made an investment in families who are receiving TANF in our city, a $1,000 cash payment so they can make their own decisions about how to send their kids back to school. We created a Black Homeowners Fund so that we can create the best strategies for people to own and buy their own homes in Washington, D.C. and create wealth for their families. We're piloting programs for returning citizens that will help them when they come home to land, to get housing, to get work, and to have cash in their pockets. And we appointed our first gun violence intervention director in the form of the incredible Linda Harley Harper. So these are all of the things that will help us. You will come up with other ideas that will help us get to where we need to be in keeping our city safe. I know that we have the talent in this city. We certainly have the commitment in this city to make sure that no matter where you live, that you can walk out in your neighborhood. You don't have any fear in sending kids out in their neighborhoods or going to school or getting on the train, and that more people have the opportunity to raise their family safely right here in Washington, D.C. But it will take all of us. Now, what I know we can all be very proud of is that we're not in a city that's fighting over whether we should be doing this work. We know that we need to be doing violence interruption. We don't live in a city where we're fighting over whether we have to correct generations of disinvestment. We know we have to do that. So let's lock arms and do that work together. But I wanted to be here, Linda, the deputy mayor, the chief of police, and all of the people who work with us and keeping our city safe, to say that we're in this together. So once again, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mayor Muriel Bowser, for your kind words, for your inspiration, and again, for all of your investments in improving social justice here in D.C. And earlier, when I spoke, I didn't mention the fact that I'm a returning citizen as well. And I just remember coming home in 2011 and being so grateful to be a Washingtonian, and being so grateful that my community was willing to embrace me and support me through my transformational process and my transitional process, and creating an opportunity for me to give back and to serve in the neighborhood where I grew up. And so we are grateful to have you as a mayor, grateful for your leadership, and grateful that you really get these things and that we're moving forward as a city. I want to give a special honor to Wally, who was who helped us to develop this curriculum for the DC Peace Academy, but also was one of our instructors. And I've been telling people over and over again that I've sat through mediation training about 10 times while working at Cure Violence Global, because they would send in facilitators from New York and Chicago and Baltimore to train us in basically what it looks like and what it is and how to facilitate and detect mediations. But when I sat through your class, I learned more in your class in 2 days than I did in 10 trainings, because it was culturally relevant. It was helpful in terms of understanding the communities that we live in and the people that we serve, even down to being able to understand the local artists and how sometimes they tend to impact the violence that we're seeing in the community, and how to keep yourself safe in the community when planning and facilitating mediation. So I know all the students agree that we are so grateful that you came in to teach us all of your wisdom that you have obtained over the decades. And I want to give a very special honor to Dion and her staff again for, first of all, hosting us and accommodating us and also tolerating us. I know sometimes we would get so excited and we'd be singing and dancing and laughing, and your staff is working, and they were so patient with us, and they always made sure that we had everything we need to be successful with each instructor, whether it was technical support or a table for lunch. And we're so grateful, whatever you said to them, to encourage them to be supportive of us. We appreciate you for that. And again, I want to acknowledge the students for making it through this 13 weeks. I know that it was a long process, and we learned a lot, but some days were difficult when we was coming to work and processing shootings, and some of our staff had family members who were directly impacted, and we were dealing with COVID, and we have kids who were not well, and life just shows up. And yet you guys kept coming back every Tuesday and Thursday and sticking through each of the lesson plans all day long. And I'm just so proud of you. And I appreciate y'all so much for helping me to see that, like, we can do this. And we start our second cohort the middle of next month, and we hope to wrap that cohort up by the end of this year. And we have a long way to go to train all 300 of our frontline peacemakers that our mayor made reference to earlier. And I'm convinced that because of y'all, we can do it. I think we're off to a great start. I want to give honor to all of the CBOs who nominated students and who helped us to develop this initiative. And I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. The Alliance of Concerned Men, Blueprint Development, Collaborative Solutions for Communities, Far Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative, Father Factor, J&J Monitoring, the National Association for the Advancement of Returning Citizens and Training Grounds. And so, yeah, let's give those community-based organizations a hand and our students a hand. And at this time, I'm going to call up Nika. She will be performing a song for us. And I just want to take a moment to hold up the women in the work. We know that they are a minority in this space. And I want to encourage all of the men to continue to create a work environment where more women want to join and more women want to stay on the workforce, where they feel supported, because we know that they have value and credibility and influence and relationships in the neighborhoods where we serve. Nika?
Hello, I'm Nika Grimes, and I am one of the graduates for Peace Academy's first cohort. Not only that, since I've been with them, I am also a CEO of iHelp, which is a company that bridges the gap between technology and underserved communities. I also used to be an outreach worker for Cure the Streets, and today I will be singing a song for you that I wrote, and it's dedicated to the families that have gone through these street wars or have been victims of gun violence or are going through it now, or know someone that just is going through violence in general. This song is dedicated to those families and the people to let you know that we love you and we care for you and we got your back. Okay. Someone once told me that if I close my eyes and dream, that the bad things that happened wouldn't follow me to sleep. And then I would wake up and wouldn't be alone. You said before I count to 10 that you would be back home. But as the dust settles, as you get up out of bed, remember someone loves you. Remember what I said, that you mean so much more than any stupid war. Please come back to me. Remember what you're fighting for. Our pictures on the walls and our scruffy little dog. Our house that's too small, but we don't care at all. In our big backyard, in our 2 broke down cars, our 1 little tree, but most of all fight for our families. Well, please try to stay strong, and I will while you're gone. And I swear I'll write you every day, and you better reply back to me. And as the dust settles, as you get up out of bed, you remember someone loves you. You remember what I said, that you mean so much more than any stupid war. Please come back to me. Remember what you're fighting for. Our pictures on the walls and our scruffy little dogs and our house that's too small, but we don't care at all. In our big backyard, in our 2 broke down cars, our 1 little tree, but most of all fight for our families. Fight for our families. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nika. Got me in tears. Just a moment of gratitude for everything that we do have, our strength and all the blessings that we do have, even though we're not what we want to be. When I was traveling here this morning, I needed some inspiration, and I was listening to Murray, Can't Give Up Now. It's like if I don't try, of course I'm not going to win. At this time, we will distribute the certificates to the students, the moment I've been waiting for. I want to call up Dr. Brown to assist me. You over there crying too, Doc? You got you. Lord have mercy. Okay. I guess I'll call the names, and then Jake, you got the photos for us once the students come up? Are not in order, so. Before I start, let's give all of our students a hand for being the first to graduate from the DC Peace Academy, our trailblazers. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell, Tyrone Parker, Fat Cat, Dr. Purnell, CJCC, Christy Love, everybody that came out with us to celebrate today. And our first graduate I'm calling up is Mama Vita Clayton. From the Alliance of Concerned Men.
Thank you.
And then Jake, okay. Jake wants your picture right here, Mama.
Oh, okay. With my mask
Thank
on.
you.
Wait a minute. Okay, thank you.
Hello to the Deputy Mayor Gildhart. Thank you for being here. And Tyrone, thank you for nominating Mama Vita to join us. Our next graduate is Brittany Graham. Brittany, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Brittany is also with the Alliance of Concerned Men outreach worker in Washington Highlands, one of the queens against gun violence. Our next graduate is John Hardy, also from the Alliance of Concerned Men, Washington Highlands Violence Interrupter. And he also has the Certificate of Perfect Attendance. The next graduate is Darquisha Wilkinson from Collaborative Solutions for Communities. Okay. Right now? Okay. Okay. It's awkward. You want? Would you mind coming up? They want you to come up, Mayor. I'm sorry to bother. The next graduate is Richard Garland. Where is he? Is he here? Oh, he over here. One of our youngest members of the cohort.
Good job. Right here, come here.
The next graduate is L.A. Antoine Thomas. South Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative.
man. I'm like,
In the middle,
wait
for
till
the
I'm-
picture.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
You know what you're doing.
Okay. The next graduate is Rock Sealing. Collaborative Solutions for Community. I see you, brother. I see you. He also has the Certificate of Perfect Attendance.
You got to shoot me. Good job, bro. Good job.
Thank you.
Ibrahim Lyles, a.k.a. Pep. Certificate of Perfect Attendance, our hype man. We love you so much.
Hey, oh, where we pushing P? Yeah, we the P-pushers. All right, man. All right, Doc. Where we at with? Hey, oh, look, hold on. Shout out to Dion, man. Yeah, shout out to Dion.
Shout out to Dion.
Hey, Dion, I love you, man. Shout out to Dion. And guess what, Dion? I got perfect attendance, too, but I love you.
Thank you so much, Dion, for nominating him. He has been our hype man, keeping us, make sure we dancing and singing on a regular basis. Our next graduate is Mama Lou. Congratulations, Mama Lou, also with Far Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative, one of our IRA recipients. We are so grateful to have him home with us. Our next graduate is Curtis Coach P.D. Monroe. Woo, woo. Alliance of Concerned Men, Benham Park, Benham Terrace Site Supervisor.
From the block to the boardroom.
Larry Drayton Jr., also from Far Southeast Family Strengthening Collaborative.
Y'all ain't gonna do me like that, man.
Our next graduate is Dirk Phillips. Benham Park, Benham Terrace Violence Interrupter. One of our youngest students and one of our youngest people in the workforce, I'm safe to say. Next we have Tar Charity from the Eckington site, also Certificate of Perfect Attendance. That's right. Our next student is Terrence Ford, a.k.a. Shaq. Violence interrupted for the Bellevue neighborhood. Father factor.
Too many.
Next up, Stanley Matthew Jones, Alliance of Concerned Men.
Appreciate it.
William Johnson, see here? Not yet. Antoine Gatlin, Program Manager for the Trinidad site, not Cure the Streets.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Sierra Green, Program Manager for the New System Quarter Ivy City site, Father Factor Inc. Nika Grimes, thank you for your service.
Gotta put the peace sign up.
Thank you. Okay. There's a dark gray Sonata that's blocking someone in. Can you please move your vehicle and let them out? A dark gray Sonata. Coach Willie Smith is not here today. Or is he? Coach. We love you, Coach. From training grounds, and Coach has been out for a few weeks but has been on Zoom in class with us every single day. We're so proud of you for your commitment. The next person, student Hillary Killebrew. I want to say special thanks to Hillary for always being early. The first person I see every morning, my motivation to keep me inspired to be on time. And certificate of perfect attendance. Kareem Watts. Oh, yeah. Training grounds. Daryl Morgan, Baba Daryl, where you at? Hey! Yes. He's in Papa.
Shout out to the Trigger Project,
Amen.
Jasmine Nay, and Dana McDaniels.
Yes. Shout out to Tia Bell and the Trigger Project. Thank you so much for being here, sis. That's it for the graduates. Thank you so much for coming up. Oh, the people who got their certificates before the mayor came up. That's who was it? I don't remember. John, who was it? Come on. I was like, what? Oh, that's fair, that's fair. Come on, Bree. Was it just y'all two? Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Chef like that. Chef B. Chef B. Yeah, we get it.
All right, congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations again to our graduates. Thank you to everybody for enduring that process with us. And our next presenter will be Mama Lou. He will be performing an original rap song for us. And where is he? Mama Lou? Hello, Mama. You ready?
It's Mama Lou in full effect, honoring the ancestors out of respect and giving honor to all of you. I can't neglect, cause we can trace our heritage back to commit. And I admit I've been a soldier and I made mistakes, eliminating young warriors that's from my race. Indoctrinated by phony books, became menticide. With that said, let me take you brothers on the ride. Let's ride the tide of the great ocean. Slave ships that didn't shift, thousands of slaves shackled. What's up with the mic? Start over. Yeah. It's Mama Lou in full effect, honoring the ancestors out of respect and giving honor to all of you. I can't neglect, cause we can trace our heritage back to commit. And I admit I've been a soldier and I made mistakes,